Covering topics of the day, from politics to pop culture. This is Soapbox Talk on Channel 104. It is Saturday. We're usually on Sundays, but it is a very special edition of Soapbox Talk today. Yeah, it's a special edition because Taylor is special and he's got to work tomorrow. Also, we're talking about the Grammys. The Grammys are tomorrow. You got any? We'll talk about our picks here in a little bit. But I'm excited. About time we had something besides gun shootings on TV. And Bieber will be back on the and Bieber racing through the streets of Miami Beach. And what else has gone on the past couple of days? All kinds of stuff. And of course, we don't live in Florence. We don't live in Boone County, Kentucky anymore. We live in Boone County, Alaska, I think. Forget everything about living in an area where we usually don't get a lot of snow in the winter, because we do get a lot of snow in the winter, when typically we don't get a lot of snow, and it has been so cold. And if you think that it has been cold, I am going to read a little later on a statement from some folks that I know that run a meteorological service here in our area about really, there's always a huge divide. I like these guys because they more likely get the forecast right than our local meteorologists, and that's how I came to follow them. And so maybe down the road we'll talk to them about doing some work for our stations. But the forecast they have penned for this week.
Yeah, Kevin, Steve, and the other Steve.
Kevin, Steve, and
Larry,
Tim Hedrick, and mentioning
Michelle.
Names now. The lady that I call Michelle Bachman's. Thank God Joe's not here today. Michelle Bachman's mini-me, Erica Kalura. She sounds like, talks like, and looks like a young version of Michelle Bachman. And might I add, she's pretty hot.
Not to mention Ira Joe Fisher.
Ira Joe Fisher is in New York now, but he was here. He's the guy that used to write the forecast backwards. Does he? I wonder if he does he still do that? You've been to New York.
Know.
Well, I thought you'd been to New York and you knew, but
I think you forget the forecast that half the time.
Yeah, probably. He's getting up there, and then but our local meteorologist
probably loses train of thought and talking about when he used to
look. This is how competent our meteorologists are. We have a meteorologist that came to Cincinnati from Phoenix, and I've been to Phoenix, and I can't think of the name of the airport, but she literally was doing the forecast a few weeks ago and mentioned that Sky Harbor. Right now it's sunny and 34 at Sky Harbor.
Not sunny and 75.
It should have been sunny and 95 if she was at Sky Harbor. But Sky Harbor is the airport in Phoenix. And I've been to Phoenix with your dad, as a matter of fact. And then, and the airport...
I'm just going to say this real quick. I know kind of random, but the delay on CNN sucks.
The delay? What kind of delay are you talking about?
The delay between the newsroom and the field reporter in Maryland.
Oh, you mean Erin McPike, who they're talking to right now. Yeah. She doesn't look like she's too thrilled to be there. She probably had the day off. I'm sure she's in the Washington bureau. And so they probably were like, well, you need to head out there to that mall. And she's probably like, but it's my day off. I was actually thinking about that.
My guess
she just did not seem real prepared.
She just gotten out of the shower.
And I think it's snowing there. At least some shots show snow. And I know we had snow that moved out of our area this morning. So it's probably right now over D.C. because it was about a 12-hour storm. So it's probably D.C.'s 12 hours from here. So I'm thinking they're probably getting part of that. This mall not exactly in D.C. This mall actually in suburban Maryland, closer to Baltimore. I think I've actually been... it sounds like I have been to a lot of places in my life, but I think I've actually been to this mall coming back from I once was at the I can't think of anything today. The building, the Hart Senate building. I was in the Hart Senate building that day, and I was coming back to Cincinnati, and I was with Michelle Keith.
Did you want for Ted Cruz, I assume?
No, he was not there. He was not. He had not been an elected official. But
anyway,
so we're now getting
our viewers that are have not been able to catch the news yet. Breaking out of Columbia, Maryland, a shooting in a mall has left 3 dead and now reported 4 injured.
Yes. Oh, is it now up to 4? I'm glad
Yes.
you're... I'm sorry, I'm communicating with our other co-host here.
The shooter is dead, who is...
supposedly. Now, remember, we don't know for sure, so it's always allegedly or possibly until we...
Yes.
They believe the shooter is dead, yes.
I believe to be a single shooting incident, but they are having another press conference today at 4 o'clock.
And we are going to continue to watch the story. If you're not aware... I pretty much am a news hound. I've worked in news. I interned in news no, not in the nude. But in the news, I interned I had a news fellowship in college and have been reporting news as part of my job duties at various stations for years. And in addition to owning some stations, so I'm a big news hound. I keep up on the news. I know.
Yeah, you're perfect. I
learned how. I want to thank Marianne Zalesnik at NKU for that, because she was the person who taught me how to do it, and she's pretty good at it. But anyway, so just a lot going on in Maryland. Then we had a couple of shootings the past couple of days. And I don't even know if people are aware of, but one of them involved a local guy from Springboro, which is closer to where Robin lives. Go figure. Mm-hmm. About 30 miles from here in Cincinnati, from about where we're at. So, that was a little bit too close to him. He was actually the shooter. He's in jail right now, right where he needs to be.
Yeah, pled not guilty.
And pled not guilty.
Which is my question: when it's obvious you did it, why do you plead not guilty?
That is a good question. Robin cannot join us today. She is working. Robin got a second job. That's how cheap we are. No, I'm just joking. But she's doing something else. So we may try to get a hold of her after 3.
On the mean streets of Dayton?
On the mean streets of Dayton, yeah. Robin is also an accountant, in case you didn't know it. And I mean, so, yeah. And
that's scary.
Yeah, so she's, it's tax season. So she's helping people with their taxes, and
I'm still waiting my W-2.
Yeah, and so that's what she's doing right now. She's at work, and so she's not going to be joining us apparently today. Should have got a hold of Lakes, but she's busy with her kids.
Lakes.
That's what her husband calls. I think they call each other Lakes and Lakes. But anyway, so I should have got a hold of her. Would have been nice to have her on the show. But yeah, the past couple of days there have been some shootings going on, and it's kind of sad because we focus on this 19-year-old boy who allegedly, which is now being debated, had a blood alcohol level above the legal limit. Now some are saying he didn't. The law enforcement officials are who I would listen to in this case. They're not at all admitting that his blood alcohol level was low. And remember, this is a kid who is 19. Should have a blood alcohol limit of 0, and his dad was with him. So let's just keep that in mind. But by the same token, people got so wrapped up in that there was a college shooting. One person got shot at Purdue University and died. That was the case involving the local boy who was the shooter, and then the second case yesterday in South Carolina, where another student got shot and killed. And so this is something that's starting to now happen every day in our country. I would love to have like an FBI profiler on, because I would love to find out why these things are happening so quickly.
Kind of like the VAU on Criminal Minds.
Yeah, exactly. I'd love to have somebody on who would be able to address that, or would be able to talk about what makes this...
Well, if I knew
what's the psychology...
I'm just going to let you know. He'd be on the show right now.
Nancy Grace? Is that who you said?
Matthew Gray Goobler. He plays Spencer Reed.
Yeah. Or, maybe we could get our friend from the Boone County Sheriff's Department that goes to our church. I can never get his name right. I wanted to say Calapooperay, but that's Coach Cal. Why can't I think of his name? I'm drawing blanks today, man. I really am. I've got a cold, so it's not... Ross and Flosh and Schnoshin, yeah. Whatever. Somebody who could talk to us a little bit about what makes people think like this. Why, and it just seems like they feed off of each other. And now it's becoming pretty much, somebody shot somebody...
We have one cousin that retired from law enforcement.
Yeah, or even to talk to him, but...
and then another cousin that also...
Yeah.
I don't know if he still does, but then our cousin Sean...
Yeah, no, but
And my dad knows tons of law enforcement.
Sean would, yeah, your dad has been like, he's been a detective when he's not even a detective.
That movie Ride Along.
Yeah, that's your dad. And
I can't wait. I'm going to see that too.
Yeah. I would love to see your dad. I would pay somebody to I'm going to get a hold of Ross and Flossin, and I'm going to ask him to do that with your dad if he can do it. But
Dante saw the movie last week, and Dante thought it was hilarious.
Yeah, or your dad's friend who ran for jailer down in Madison County.
Steve Gregg?
No, not Steve Gregg. Jasper.
Jasper White.
Yeah. There's somebody in law enforcement that can talk to us about what makes these people kind of just this methodical order that this seems to be going in. It's becoming an everyday event. And, for a long time, I've been saying, well, we make guns too readily available. I do continue to think that that's part of the problem. But I am a supporter of the Second Amendment as well. But what else is fueling this? What else is there that's going on in our world today? And why are we as a country just kind of becoming totally oblivious to it? I mean, 15 years ago, if there had been a shooting of someone on a college campus, would have been breaking news, would have been nothing else covered. But instead, we got Justin Bieber all day. And while that is a very that's a good story to talk about, and that we're going to talk about that some today. But while that is a good story to talk about, it's far from what we've seen the past couple of days on these campuses. Where do news organizations get their ideas from about what's going to be the lead at the top of the hour? So, very, very interesting. Some things that are going on here in the States. If you're not in the States, the other scary thing, though, is the Olympics that are coming up this morning. Discussed that more threats have come out. Would you, Taylor, would you get on a plane and, I have a friend, by the way, who's Russian.
I wouldn't get a plane and fly over 3 hours, or 3 or 4 hours anyway.
Well, that's true. And
flying out of the country is out of the question.
And unless you flew out of the land of Sarah Palin, where she can see Russia from her house, you probably would have more than a 3-hour flight. I'm thinking you would probably have maybe a 10, 12-hour flight to Sochi.
Yeah, I'm not getting on a plane.
Now, I love planes. I could get on a plane and fly. I sleep better on a plane than I do in my bed. So,
well, when I flew home from Vegas, I was surprised I slept really well. I figured, I'd be so nervous I'd be up the whole plane.
Yeah, well, they had to medicate you, so...
no, I didn't get medicated.
Oh, you didn't? Oh, I thought you did.
No, I guess I was just so excited.
That was the rumor. That was the rumor. Yeah, well, you went right to... And that's what happens with me. I get on a plane and I fall asleep. Now, sometimes I get a little easily distracted by the person next to me. I'm one of those, like, oh my God, did you have to not cover your mouth when you just sneezed? Or did you have to pass gas, right? Just, I worry enough about that with Babalu in the RV.
Next to Dad, and all he does is snores.
Yeah. So you were pretty lucky.
But, I remember the only thing that woke me up was turbulence.
Yeah, now that'll do it. Yeah, now that'll do it.
Between Vegas and Baltimore, where we landed.
Of course, and if you don't know, the national story that did make the news, that was your all's SUV in Vegas that got stolen. With all of our church's equipment and everything in the back, and they're just now getting everything replaced. Thank God. But that story was all over the news, and it was you guys. So that's why you had to fly back, because part of the reason, one, is that you guys wanted to take the equipment out there. 2, you were going to go see our uncle in Sacramento. And 3, you couldn't fly. So you had to fly. That was the only way that you could get back, was if you flew, unless they took a train or put you on a bus, and I don't think they wanted to do that. So
no, I did not want to sit next to a crazy heroin addict.
Yeah, and what you may very well find on a bus. So, and I wouldn't want you to take a megabus, because it might explode on the highway. We've had all kinds of instances with megabus having problems here since they launched in Cincinnati.
And I'm not going to take a cruise ship, because I might be able to take a crap.
Or you might get the cruise ship flu or something. The retrovirus or ritrovirus or whatever they call it. But yeah, so and I don't think you could take a cruise from Vegas to Cincinnati. I don't think that could happen. But anyway, so
you'd probably take a dune buggy.
A dune buggy may work. I would not want Babalu driving. By the way, I saw the forecast for Orlando today. Guess what it was?
For what?
For Orlando, near where Babalu is. Babalu's in Leland, which is kind of close.
Forecast.
Sunny and 55. He's
10 degrees less than Joe Nichols.
He's 20 degrees, 55, not 65, 55. He probably has a heavy coat, gloves.
He's probably still sitting out front of his RV with no shirt on.
No, not in 55. No, he hates that. He hates that kind of.
365 days a year when he's living.
That's where he is. Who I get it from. Him and my mom. I've just never been able to stand. I hate the cold, and Dad is right there with us, and he doesn't. And he grew up in Kentucky. So, but he, which you can tell by his accent, if you've ever heard him on the show, you can clearly tell he grew up in Kentucky. But he cannot stand the cold, and so I could just. He's probably down in Florida going, well, I'm thinking I might want to call Rich. It's all over. I'm heading back. I can't get away from the cold. So, but yeah, sunny and 55 in Orlando today. Babalu is probably having a fit. And last I checked, Auntie and Uncle Gene were down there too with him. So
Auntie and Uncle Gene.
Auntie and Uncle Gene. Isn't that what I said? Did I say Uncle D and Aunt? And I don't think Aunt Gene would like that very much. But anyway, so they're down there. I think they were going to stop and see our cousin Jordan, who lives in Jacksonville now, who follows us on Facebook, or is friends with us at least with me on Facebook. And so, yeah, I think they might be back now because Dad said they were going to come back, and then they always go back in April, I guess, for Daytona for the 500. So, but anyway, so that's what's kind of going on in our world.
Daytona 500
in April. I don't know the exact date. I don't keep for being a sports-minded person. I don't keep up with those days. Mm-hmm. But hey, while we're talking about sporting events, let's just bring this up real quick. Then we'll take a break. Then we'll come back with our first topic, which is today's shooting.
I think we already covered the shooting.
No, not really. No, but I ain't been on my soapbox yet.
Yes, you have.
No, I haven't. Anyway.
Okay, Elizabeth Hasselbeck.
First break. Do not call me Elizabeth Hasselbeck. That's just one. Do not ever compare me to anyone on Fox News. Elizabeth Hasselbeck being one, Sean Hannity being two, or Bill, which I don't completely dislike Bill O'Reilly, but
what about Lara Spencer?
Lara Spencer's on ABC. Man, you have got to get your news anchors and their positions and where they work correct, dude.
What about Sofia Vergara?
I don't even know who the hell she is.
She's the Colombian lady on Modern Family, really hot.
Oh, I don't watch Modern Family much. I've seen it.
It's Joe's favorite show.
It is his favorite show. He talks about it all the time. I do. I like some of the topics that I hear about that they cover, but I don't. But I don't necessarily. I know our pastor loves it, and I know his son's Tyler's a big fan of it too. So, but I myself don't watch it. I don't. I'm usually watching some reality show on Wednesday night or working on some radio show on Wednesday night, something like that, because I do that too. As you may know. But in Taylor's case, it's I Gotta Go. It's American Idol by.
Yeah.
I Gotta Go. It's The Voice by.
And I'm watching for more breaking news coverage.
And we are I am too. I have the monitor on right in front of me, just so you know. Like literally, I see it better right now than I do the control monitor for the show. But anyway, so we are keeping up with that. 3 dead, 4 injured, Maryland mall shooting. Continue to follow that story, and we'll have more on it here in just a minute. I was going to talk a little bit about the Super Bowl. We got a couple of big sporting events coming up.
Bruno Mars is going to kick ass.
If his skin doesn't freeze first. Because the big talk now coming out of New Jersey, besides Chris Christie and his ways, the second biggest thing is the Super Bowl and the fact that it's going to be held outside for the first time, and that Farmer's Almanac, man, they hit it out of the park this year. They never hit it out of the park. Farmer's Almanac deserves a Grammy, an Oscar, and a SAG award for how good they predicted this winter. And a Razzie, because they said that when in this area we would have the coldest winter ever. We've had the coldest winter ever. They said we'd see record snowfall. We've seen record snowfall. They said that on Super Bowl weekend that there would be a blizzard in New York and that the game would, what was going to be done about the game. They predicted that. So now, meteorologists are saying, guess what? Fulmer's Almanac may very well be right. If it's not a storm, though, it's going to be extremely Arctic cold air. And so I'm thinking the Super Bowl's not ever going to make it to Cincinnati. We know the Bengals may never make it to the Super Bowl. But on top of that, we know that the Super Bowl may never come to Cincinnati because I don't think people are going to like it too well. I don't think I was in Tampa when they had the Super Bowl down there. I don't think people really can, and it was I think they were in a dome.
As long as Bruno Mars still performs, the halftime show I'll be fine.
Well, the thing is they're saying they may have to move it to a different day, that it may be Super Bowl Friday, or Super Bowl Saturday, or Super Bowl Monday. Now, can you understand?
Maybe they should just hold the Super Bowl inside Madison Square Garden.
I don't think they can. I don't think they can. It's not big enough. But by the same token, what are companies going to? Are companies? I'm now seeing footage of a SWAT team looking like they're moving into this mall. I don't know if it's a recent shot or an old shot, by the way. But are they? Now I lost my train of thought. Are they going to mess up the American dollar by moving the game to a Monday or a Friday? Could you imagine?
No.
Could you imagine? I mean, but you know, but
screw my DVR.
But your DVR is already screwed up. It's your DVR, Taylor. But then again, you know, I remember many places that I have worked where we sat and we watched the games, you know, during March Madness, you know, while we were supposed to be working. So I don't know, but I would think that it would not be good for productivity in our country, and we already all of us already know who's going to win. So
the Broncos.
The Broncos are going to win, and Caden plays for the Broncos here in Boone County. So if we're watching a Broncos,
is he excited?
He's very excited. If we're watching a Broncos game on TV and somebody like when Green Bay played them and Green Bay was beating them, or I don't think they did. They beat them? I don't remember. Caden cried. Like
something my dad would do.
He was bawling. He's 10 years old. He was bawling his eyeballs out because everybody was making fun of Denver. And nobody was really making fun of Denver. It's just we thought it was funny that they came back from such a deficit and won the game, and he didn't like that. So you know, I hate to see what's going to happen if Seattle wins. It's going to be very interesting. Anyway, Soapbox Talk. We got more to talk about. It's special.
Yeah, I'd like to see Caden if the Bengals ever win the Super Bowl.
I would like to see Mike if the Bengals ever win the Super Bowl. I would like to see.
Now, is Caden one of those fans that cries when his team doesn't do well?
Not so much when the Bengals don't do well, but I think people pretty much don't cry anymore when the Bengals don't do well. They just kind of like,
What about Caleb?
Neither one of them seem to cry a lot. Now, I've seen them. They both played in the Super Bowl, Boone County Super Bowl, which is basically Pee Wee football. And they both have played, and they both played. In fact, Caleb's assistant coach is on the Bengals team. Is one of the high profile. His brother is Caleb's coach, and I can't Marvin Jones, and so his brother is actually Caleb's head coach. Marvin Jones. I guess they moved. Part of the family moved to this area, but Marvin is an assistant coach for Caleb's team. So, but a few years ago, they had a different coach who had some history in the NFL, who took them repeatedly to the local Super Bowl every single year for 3 or 4 years. And Mike was an assistant coach. My brother-in-law, Mike, their dad, and so they both got to play. And now that's when they cried because, and you know, and football is a very emotional game. And they were you know, when they won, they cried, and when they lost, they cried, and so did the entire team. Did
Mike cry?
Mike did not cry, but I think Mike had tears in his eye. Mike, you know, we're not men or pansies if they cry around here. You know, we don't think like that. We think crying is okay, but
I hate to see Mike at his kids' weddings.
His kids' what?
Weddings.
Oh, yeah, that's not going to be pretty. No, especially Kenzie's wedding. Now that, I hope I live that long. Because she's only 10 months old. But you ought to see little Avery around her, man. He's like, it's like love at first sight, man. And so the big talk is, we're going to try to keep them together until they're, in their 20s.
Yeah, I feel sorry for the first guy that tries to date Kenzie, because I have a feeling he'll have to deal with an overprotective father and 2 older overprotective brothers.
Yes, and an overprotective uncle, and hopefully an overprotective protective cousin. And so,
Who's the overprotective cousin?
You. Or you better be.
Well, I'll just stand by and watch.
Oh, yeah. So, and we're training the dog to be overly protective, too. Just so you know. That,
oh, gosh.
Yeah, so we're doing that. Anyway, it's Soapbox Talk. We'll come back with the topic of the day. The shooting in Washington. We'll talk a little bit more about that. And then we'll move on to other topics. It's,
Justin Bieber, John Gosling's an ass.
Oh, we talked about John Gosling last week, but I guess we could talk about him again.
Well, I want to talk because I saw In Touch Weekly.
Uh-huh.
I don't like he's a tool.
Oh, well, he is a tool.
I do not like John Gosling.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I guess we'll talk about that, too. We've got an added subject today on a special extended edition of the Sunday Morning Soap Talk on Saturday afternoon. It's the all-new Buzz 101, Jams 102, River 103, and My City Info. Oops, I totally messed that up. More coming up. Stay close. Of country from the 2Ks and today.
When I lay you down and love you right. Yeah, that's my kind
and the 2Ks.
Something more, gotta be more than this. I need a little less hard time. I need a little more bliss. I know you don't know me, but I can't leave here lonely knowing
This is the fresh new sound of today's Buzz Country.
WGMV Cincinnati, a Gizmo media station. We've been planning, and you've been waiting. It's time for a brand new radio station custom designed with 2 in mind. Finally, a radio station she and he can agree on. True music variety that sounds just like this.
Only wanna be with you.
tonight. We are young.
Hey, soul sister, ain't that Mr. on the radio? Stereo, the way you move ain't fair, you know.
Finally, the wait is over. This is the new River 103, true music variety of soft rock and roll favorites both of you can agree on. Turn it up. This is the new River 103.
We're the station playing everything that makes you move.
From yesterday's throwback to today's jam. This is the all-new Jams 102 WBLZ.
Yeah.
Covering topics of the day, from politics to pop culture. This is Soapbox Talk on Channel 104.
Hello, welcome back. It's the My City Info channel. It is Soapbox Talk. I'm Uncle Rich along with Taylor. Continuing to watch the situation out of D.C. today.
It's Maryland.
Well, okay, Maryland, you're right. You are correct. I'm sorry. Boy, I got that wrong. But it's close, very close to D.C. I think 30 miles. Closer to, actually closer to Baltimore, the Mall of Columbia. I think I've actually been near that mall before, driven by it. So far, this is what we know. 3 dead. Apparently so. 3 dead, right, but one of them believed to be the shooter, although they are continuing to slowly let people out of this mall, but they seem to think that he is the shooter and the only shooter. And number 2... 4 injured and a med evacuated to area hospitals. So we will continue to watch the situation as it goes on. And again, we keep talking about these gun shootings. One in South Carolina yesterday, and one in Indiana at Purdue University on Thursday. Pretty much becoming an everyday thing. How are we going to fix this problem? What do you think, Taylor? What do you think needs to be done to prevent this stuff from happening anymore?
Tighter security?
Okay, tighter security would be one thing, but are people going to want to go to the mall and have to take off all their jewelry by going through a metal detector? And could you imagine the lines that there would be if that had to happen? And
yeah, but I mean, they could do more surveillance.
And not to mention what that could possibly do to the U.S. economy. And furthermore, is it even constitutional to put excessive controls on the American people? A lot of those things would have to be answered. Now, in a school setting, I believe that it is. I don't know that applies to a shopping mall or a place in general. I mean, people, we have the fireworks here in Cincinnati every year, or they have the parade in New York every Thanksgiving, and they also have the New Year's Eve. How are you going to...
Boston Marathon.
And the Boston Marathon, which we've already had a very sad incident there. How are you going to regulate it so that average Joes can safely go down to those events, and what are you going to do to protect them should some crazy person show up with a gun?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's just, how are we... I'm not sure that I have the answer. Clearly, Congress is not going to do anything about gun control. The big problem with gun control that I see is, one, again, I say it every time we have a topic on guns, which seems to be almost weekly anymore. I'm not opposed to the Second Amendment. If a person wants to go out and hunt for game, I think that should be allowed. I think if a person wants to be able to protect themselves, that should be allowed. That being said, I don't think that guns should be brought into schools, because I think guns can fall into the wrong hands. A kid who is mad or angry at a teacher, we've seen that situation just a few weeks ago in Colorado, can try to shoot the teacher or try to shoot the classmates. It just takes one. How many times have you heard of a criminal getting a gun away from a police officer? You do not hear about it a lot, but it certainly does happen, probably a lot more than we even hear about it. I don't think guns should be anywhere where it's going to put the kids at greater risk than the risk that already exists. So I don't know that that's the answer. Some people think that putting guns in schools is the answer. I don't know why they think that, why they do that. Now, as somebody who used to actually, as someone who used to actually like the NRA and what they stood for, I have lost all respect in the NRA, and I now want no association with them or nothing to do with them, because the things that they do that surround these shootings, like place ads on Facebook or Twitter or, on websites when things happen like today, is just crazy. And their mandate that the guns should just be everywhere, I think we're beginning to see that philosophy does not work. Guns can fall. It's easy enough for guns to fall into the wrong hands. If you go to a gun show, and I probably shouldn't even say this because you never know when some crazed person out there might be listening and go, oh, maybe that's what I need to do. But when you can go to a gun show and purchase a gun without having to show an ID, but the laws are different when you go to a gun store and you have to buy an ID. You have to go through a mental background check. You have to go through an FBI background check. And if you're convicted of a felony or you've ever had any kind of issues with mental health, you generally would be denied a weapon. But you can find them on the street, for one. In these cases,
you can steal them.
Yeah, here's the thing. This is what I think of with these school shootings as of late. Where do the kids get their guns?
Their parents.
Exactly. So if you think having guns in a school where kids readily steal guns from their parents, what makes you think they're going to be any safer having them in a school? A school resource officer might be the difference. But these kids aren't buying these guns on the street. These kids clearly can't go to a store. They're not even 18, most of them, and buy a gun. They are getting them from their parents, or they are stealing them. They are finding a way to get a hold of these guns. So, to those...
They need to also do a lot of education in the schools about guns.
Yes, they do. They do.
They don't.
Yeah, I think sometimes when you teach, though, you have to be careful because you never know, again, when you're going to find a kid and you're going to feed them say something that involving guns that they may not have all of their wits
Even
about
teach
them.
kids how to defend themselves in a situation like
Well,
that.
they do teach that, and that's what's sad, and that's what I wanted to talk about a little bit, and I've addressed it a little bit before. Here in Boone County, I know for a fact, I know that my brother-in-law and sister have received at least one letter from their school this year about a kid making a direct threat with a gun. I also know for a fact that my 10-year-old nephew and my 12-year-old nephew regularly, on a consistent basis, go through supposed incidents like this. They have, like, it's basically, they call it a, what is the name? I can't think of, a red flag drill or something like that, where they have to practice a scenario where there is an active shooter in their school and what they would do. And I've asked them what they do. And they say, well, you turn off the lights, you either get under a desk, you hide, and you don't move around. You stay in one central place, and you do not sit by the door, and you lock the door, and you don't let anybody see you, because if they can see you from the window, you can see them from the window, they can shoot you. They go through, I mean, here in Cincinnati, we had a situation a couple weeks ago where somebody was shot a mile away from where somebody was hunting. That's how far guns can travel. That's how far bullets. So you certainly don't want a situation, and you don't want a situation where a kid can be seen by one of the... Our kids should not have to go through that in this day and age. I never had to go through it in school. Did you ever have to go through it in school? And you're not even...
Well, they have lockdown drills and stuff.
That's
that
maybe...
similar to that.
Maybe that's what they call it, a lockdown drill. Is that what they called it when you... Because you haven't been out of school. You've been out of school 4 years, basically, right? 4 or 5 years?
Yeah, going on 5 years.
Going on 5 years. So...
Summer high school class of 2009.
2009.
Go Cougars.
Yeah, go Cougars. Never mind. I won't make any comments about that. But anyway, so you've been through it yourself, even within the last 5 years. The difference with the school in Colorado a few weeks ago, and why I think there was not the incidents like there was at Columbine, is because the kids had already learned what to do. But to see those
kids... I remember there was an incident my sophomore year in high school. Where there was a rumor going down that a kid that I was actually in a class with had a supposed hit list and was going to
it's very similar to the
come
letter
to school with a gun.
That's very similar to the letter from my nephew's middle school that Annie and Michael received, was that a kid had made a list and a threat.
Nobody went to school.
Because the rumor got around, and so oh wow.
And apparently, I guess that it was just all a rumor, basically, because turned out there was really no truth to it.
Yeah. I don't know, but...
And the kid from the situation, the kid was bullied, and that might have been part of it, where, like, it was a situation where that was the way of bullying him, was spreading a rumor that he had a hit list.
Yeah, I mean, we find situations like this all the time, and... So, what do we do? How do we deal with it? That's the question. The question is, how do we deal with it? What do we do? I think the thing is to try to protect our kids any way that we possibly can. So, let's be careful with what we do in and around these schools. But these people getting access to guns just makes it very, very, very scary. And so we just need to figure out what needs to be done, how we need to help kids that fall into these types of situations, and follow through and try to see what can get done. In the meantime, it is Soapbox Talk. We're talking about the Grammys today. We're also talking about we are talking as well about the Justin Bieber situation. That's coming up, and a whole lot more. It is the Saturday afternoon version of Soapbox Talk on the new My City Info Channel 104. Stay close.
And today, when I lay you down and love you right, yeah, that's my kind
And the
of
two Ks.
Something more, gotta be more than this. I need a little less
This is the fresh new sound of today's Buzz Country.
WGMV Cincinnati, a Gizmo media station. We've been planning, and you've been waiting. It's time for a brand new radio station custom designed with two in mind. Finally, a radio station she and he can agree on. True music variety that sounds just like this.
Only wanna be with you. Tonight, we are young. Hey, soul sister, ain't that Mr. on the radio? Stereo, the way you move ain't fair, you know.
Finally, the wait is over. This is the new River 103. True music variety of soft rock and roll favorites both of you can agree on. Turn it up. This is the new River 103.
We're the station playing everything that makes you move.
From yesterday's throwback to today's jam. This is the all-new Jams 102 WBLZ.
The all-new Buzz 101, Jams 102, River 103, and My City Info Channel 104. It is Soapbox Talk. I am Uncle Rich. Welcome back to the show. We've been talking about gun shootings in school today, and in addition to that, we also are going to talk a little bit about the Justin Bieber situation and what's going on there. I know somebody just made a remark about, I guess, one of us being a racist. I don't know where that would have even come from, because we've said nothing along those lines, and we're clearly not. But we're not going to go into that. Sometimes you talk about something and people try to make spin it some other way, and it just doesn't happen. We've talked about gun control in our country, and that something needs to be done about it in our country, but that's about the extent of it. Number two, we want to talk a little bit about the Justin Bieber situation, which is a highly volatile situation when you deal with teens. I'm
just going to start off saying, bad move to compare yourself to Michael Jackson. Unless you have sold as much as Michael Jackson and has had as much success as Michael Jackson, keep your mouth shut and don't compare yourself to him on any way, shape, or form.
Yeah, I don't think anybody...
I'm, of course, referring to the photo that Justin Picture took.
Yeah,
comparing himself to Michael Jackson.
Yeah, and I don't see how
very
that's
inappropriate.
Yeah, very, but I mean, you can do what you want. I mean, but he clearly had planned out what he was going to do when he was released from jail. Musically, you can never, ever, it would be hard for anybody to come to the kind of caliber that Michael Jackson is. And yeah, I think it was a very,
compare yourself to somebody that's had legal troubles before.
Yeah, I mean, well, the very ironic thing about the Justin Bieber situation and the fact that he did that, and I didn't even see it till after I talked to someone about it, was I said it's going to be sad if this kid grows up to end up in a situation like with Michael Jackson, where Michael Jackson abused drugs and died. And that's what you have to worry about in these situations. You have to worry about whether or not that's going to happen to this kid.
I mean, does he not realize the backlash he's getting?
He's getting a lot of, he's getting a lot of negative backlash. Much more than I ever thought.
Yeah,
now, look,
4 or 5 years ago when he became popular.
Yeah, well...
everybody was talking about how amazing he is and everything, and now they're talking about how much, of his career's been wasted by all the recent stuff.
Well, I think two things play into it. One, I think the people that he associates with have a lot to do with what's going on with his behavior.
I think he's trying to be like Bobby Brown or something.
Yeah, I don't think anybody would want to dream to have, to be like a Bobby Brown or just so we know, like a Chris Farley or I can't think of it. Anna Nicole Smith, Amy Winehouse. I don't know of anybody that deals with an addiction that wants to, that says, I want to be an addict. I want to be like another addict. I don't know.
I want to be a bad boy. I think that's what he's trying to do.
I think that clearly I read something very interesting the other day. I have a friend who is a country recording artist who's been on our country show. Her name is Amy Rose, and she is from Ontario. And she has been a big supporter of Don't Drink and Drive, one of her pet projects. She had made a post on Facebook the other day, which about how sad it is to see that this kid is taking the fall that he's taking, and how talented he is. I don't think there's anybody right now that would not say that the kid is blessed and extremely talented.
Well, there are people that say he isn't talented, but that's usually like people that absolutely hate believers.
Look, you cannot say the boy's not talented. You just cannot say it. I mean, you can say it. You can say it because you don't like but why don't you say I don't like that kind of music? Because Justin Bieber is a uniquely God-blessed, talented child. What's happening in this picture, though, and it happens a lot, we see it a lot with kids who go to L.A. and get a bunch of money, is we saw it with Lindsay Lohan, and now it's coming out that this revolves, and what I was getting to, more around his parents. Now, my friend had another friend who went to school with and grew up with Justin, and for all intents and purposes, because this is a music-involved industry person, I believe what they're saying. It's not like I think somebody just, and Amy clearly knows them, and so Amy knows the whole picture. But he did grow up extremely poor, had nothing. Christmas, a hard time for his family. Food, rough for his family. The mother mostly raised him. The father was absent in a lot of cases. I believe they are.
Now look at the dad hanging out with his son.
Exactly. We're getting to my point. And he, but apparently, when the child was younger, the mother, and I'm going to back it up because I saw her interviewed yesterday on CNN. They showed an old video of her. Her big fear for her son was that he was going to meet up with the wrong people. Well, what's ended up happening is he's ended up meeting up with the wrong people. But these people, and there are people like this out there, and this has always been my huge concern with artists that I've worked with, that I know are upcoming. I know Amy Rose has probably had her share of people. I know Nisha Nandez has had her share of people. I know Jake Miller has had his share of people. The artists that I know, that Imagine Dragons, artists that I know that from the other show that I used to do, that I've actually got to know, I know that they have been so worried about bad influences taking hold. And that is what's happened with this kid. He's never had this kind of money. He's suddenly flooded worth $168 million, has a home in the richest part of Calabasas, California, and he is just doing whatever he wants. And it sounds to me like, at least on the dad's part, I don't know of any really examples on the mother's part, other than I've heard that she has not exactly been real responsible in this either. The father's part, to take and to block off streets so your son can drag race after the child, and this is another problem with the Justin Bieber case that we wanted to talk about. They're saying his blood alcohol level was 0.14, which is below the legal limit for someone his age, the age of 20. The legal limit is 0.02. So Justin wasn't drunk while he was driving. Justin admitted to the authorities, and it is on a tape, that he took prescription drugs, which, by the way, he says belonged to his mother. I forgot about that part. That's a big part of it.
Yeah.
And number two, that his father was the person who had helped him with this whole plan. And number three, that he had been smoking marijuana all day. Now, you can say what you want about marijuana, but I'm going to tell you, because there are a lot of people out there that think marijuana should be legalized. I'm not quite sure how. I feel it can be a gateway drug. But certainly I would never say to someone, oh yeah, go ahead and drive a car because you just smoked marijuana. Who does that? Who would smoke marijuana and get in a car and drive? And he knew this, so he drove while he was impaired. I don't care if his blood alcohol level is 0.14. You don't get in a vehicle and drive you don't get in a vehicle and drive when you see the little sticker on the medicine bottle and it says, Do not operate machinery. Do not drive under this medication until you know how it will affect you. If you get in a car, you get in a car.
Have lost their damn minds.
You get in your car and you drive somewhere and you have taken that drug and you get pulled over, especially if that drug is a narcotic. But really, if it's any drug that's going to delay your response when you're driving, and you get behind the wheel and you put your life and the life of other people in jeopardy, it doesn't have to be alcohol. You can be under the influence and take a host of drugs. We've seen people who have taken Ambien.
You can be under the influence of Red Bull.
Technically, yes, you could be. Yes.
What really
If
makes
it affects
about this situation?
if it affects you,
the believers have lost their mind.
I saw, but I think most of the people who are believers, so to speak, or quote unquote believers, and
Are psychotic.
Well, no, I'm not going to say they're all psychotic. I'm going to say they're all very young, and that they're mostly teenagers, and that they're mostly girls, and that their parents probably need to have a talk with them when they say, well, lots of people have gotten in their car and they've drove drunk.
It's like they're in denial.
Yeah, they're in denial. They're in denial, but news reports, police reports anyway, that have surfaced to the news regarding his situation. We all saw the picture of him smiling and he looked happy, but did you see the kid? Honestly, besides seeing the Miley Cyrus comparison, did you see the kid's eyes? Bloodshot 12 hours after he was arrested.
And he smiles
his eye,
in a mugshot. That
right there might tell you something not. But they said after the judge set his bond and they took him back to his cell just before he was released, the kid had a breakdown. My reaction to that is good. That was probably a good thing. People say, "Oh, that's horrible." You think just no? He needs to realize
he needs to go to rehab.
I've read in circles that his camp has tried to send him to rehab. That they have for a while now been saying something is going to happen.
He's saying no.
Right. So we're going to see another situation where we're going to see.
We all know what happened to Amy Winehouse.
Yeah, we're going to. Yeah, we're going
That's
to.
all I'm going to say.
Yeah, we're going to see a situation where, in a few years, a very talented person who had so much to offer is going to die because the disease of addiction is always deadly. If you do not get help. And even after you get help, in many cases, a person can still die from the influences of the medication on their body. And how do I know this? I am a recovering addict. I've been a recovering addict for a number of years now, and I'm doing very well, thank you. But it's a day-to-day mission, and you walk it every day, and you pray every day that you will get through that day, and it is simply a one-day-at-a-time type of thing. But I will tell you right now that this kid...
I just saw Wolf Blitzer.
Yeah, this kid is. Did you see Blitzer? Is he on there? This kid is. This kid is on a bad spiral. And if you care about this kid, believers or whoever you might be, and you might be saying that it's okay. If you really care about this kid, I don't know this kid, but I can tell you I would care about him because I care about everybody. That's who I am. I love and care about. That's who I am. If you care about this kid and his future, you are not going to say that this is okay, and you're not going to say it also that it's okay because people do it all the time. You're not going to make those types of rationalizations and make it okay. It is not okay. It is not okay to get in a vehicle and drive, and drive drunk, and
especially when you're not 21.
Well, I know never.
What is he
never.
showing his fans?
It's never okay to get in a vehicle and drive under the influence of anything.
Exactly, but what is he showing his fans?
Yeah.
He needs to think about his fans for a minute because.
Well, what are his fans?
Despite how crazy the believers are, do you think that he's a good influence on his fan when he gets in a car drunk, especially?
Clearly not.
When he's underage.
And then he drag races just a month after we lost one of our most beloved.
Yeah.
One of our most beloved actors in the same kind of scenario. The kid is on. To me, it seems like I don't know whether there is some sort of abuse in his past, but the kid's clearly.
I really don't think there's any abuse.
I tend to think when people try to self-medicate a lot, I tend to think they're trying to cover something up. I do believe that, and I believe it in a lot of instances. And I know a lot of other addicts, including myself, who went through some traumatic things in their lifetime.
That or he's just.
Well, but kids like this are extremely vulnerable to people in these types of situations. They get taken advantage of. And I'm certainly not saying that happened here, but I'm saying it makes me curious because this kid is on a downward spiral, doing things that are very reckless. People can say throwing eggs at a house, no big deal. No, you never throw eggs at somebody's house. No, that is a big deal, and especially when you call. Now, I don't know if I believe they got that it was $20,000 worth of damage. Now, I find that a little hard to believe because, I mean, but they say, well, with the value of the home, it's going to cost that much to get it cleaned up. I've never really had eggs thrown at my house, but I can imagine that if I did, I don't think it would cost nothing to clean it up. But nonetheless, the law is the law, and it clearly indicates that he may have committed a felony. If he's committed a felony, he's going back to Canada. If he does anything else wrong, you don't even have to commit a felony to be deported. You just have to have a series of bad behavior, which a crime would clearly indicate, if you're charged with a crime, to be sent back to your home country. And the other night I read and saw on TV in an interview that one more thing happens to this kid, he's probably going to be deported, because that's how they operate. In fact, there was temporarily, and the judge I think the judge addressed it, there was a temporary hold by immigration on him the other day, that they wanted to talk to him. Somehow it was removed, that was removed, but I think that may have been why he kind of...
So basically he's going to be banned from the United States.
Well, he'll sit in jail until he's banned. Because when you have a hold like that, you are banned. And you're sent back to your home country. So if he continues to commit these crimes, he's not an American citizen. He will be sent back to Canada. And he's said he doesn't want to be an American citizen. So if he continues to follow in this behavior, Justin Bieber will be making his records in Toronto instead of LA, and he's going to be... It's just not going to be a good situation. He won't be able to tour here. There will be in a host of other countries, So it's hard to travel if you're a felon. A lot of countries will not accept you if you are a felon. So with that said, that's it on the whole Justin Bieber thing. Coming up, we're going to talk about the Grammys. Anything else, Taylor?
That's it.
What, did you want to mention something about John?
John Goss. John makes me sick.
Goss, yeah. Why?
Now he's wanting to get full custody of the sex couple.
Yeah.
Claiming that they're miserable with Kate. I saw it on In Touch Weekly. Now, it obviously, when you go to lengths of going to a tabloid magazine, a gossip magazine like In Touch Weekly, it's like you're trying to be a fame whore.
Yeah.
Or something, trying to cash in on another 15 minutes of fame or something. I think that John is a complete delusional asshat.
Yeah.
And I have no respect for him whatsoever. Yeah, I've had problems with Kate in the past, but it just seems like John's a very, very bitter ex-husband.
Yeah.
That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, and he does. I don't understand what makes this guy tick, but he clearly has caused his
Maybe he's mad because he can't get a woman.
Well, I don't know. He's dated some women. That's why she left him. He had an affair. On her, I believe. Yeah. So he clearly has had some women. I've heard he's done some work in the porn industry. I don't know if that's true. I don't really care. Well, I do care from the standpoint of if you were going to do something like that, then I don't think you should be necessarily around children. And I'm sure I probably will get some, but that's how I feel about it. If you're going to do that in the presence of children or influence children that way, I'm not so sure that you should have. I guess I'm not giving it a definitive answer, but I would bet to say probably people who deal with kids would not think that that's a good influence on a kid. Mm-hmm. I don't. So anyway, it's Soapbox Talk. We have more to talk about. We'll be back in just a moment. We're going to be talking about the Grammys. Stick around.
It's the next generation of country from the 2Ks and today.
Gonna sound like a winner when I lay you down and love you right. Yeah, that's my kind
and the 2Ks.
Something more, gotta be more than this. I need a little less hard time. I need a little more bliss. I know you don't know me, but I can't leave here lonely knowing
This is the fresh new sound of today's Buzz Country. WGMV Cincinnati, a Gizmo media station. We've been planning, and you've been waiting. It's time for a brand new radio station, custom designed with two in mind. Finally, a radio station she and he can agree on. true music variety that sounds just like this.
Only wanna be with you.
Finally, the wait is over. This is the new River 103, true music variety of soft rock and roll favorites both of you can agree on. Turn it up. This is the new River 103.
We're the station playing everything that makes you move.
From yesterday's throwback to today's jam. This is the all-new Jams 102 WBLZ.
It's the all-new Soapbox Talk Show on Soapbox Talk Channel 104. I'm Uncle Rich. We're going to, along with Taylor, we're going to take a look. At. Hold on, just a second. Let me get you plugged in here, bud. We're going to take a look at our Grammy. I got to plug you in. Hold on. There you go. We're going to talk about the Grammys, which are coming up. Grammys tomorrow on CBS. Is that correct? Do I have that fact right? Do I have at least? Do I have?
And I'm really looking forward to it. Some great performers.
I couldn't understand that statement. Say that again.
Great performers. Billy Joe Armstrong and Miranda Lambert.
Yeah.
Sarah Bareilles and Carol King. Daft Punk featuring Nahawad under Pharrell Williams.
Yeah.
Merle Haggard, Chris Sofferson, Willie Nelson, I'm guessing that's George Jones tribute.
Yeah, hold on just a second, Taylor. I'm still managing to pull all of these up. I want to make sure that I have it right. And I don't know who you're talking about because of course, LL Cool J is the host again.
Yes.
So let's see. Artists with multiple wins and nominations. Are you looking at the performers now, correct? Billy Joe Armstrong, Miranda Lambert, Sarah Bareilles, who's nominated, featuring Carole King. Who is Gary Clark Jr.?
I don't know, but Paul McCartney was start when I was one of the ones I'm looking forward to the most.
Yeah.
Because it's basically the Beatles.
You're breaking up really bad right now.
Well, I'm on speaker so I can read this.
Oh, that's why. Okay. Let's see here. So on the show, Merle Haggard, Chris Christopherson, Willie Nelson, Blake Shelton performing together. That ought to be good. Hunter Hayes.
I'm guessing it's a tribute to George Jones.
I'm thinking that too. Kendrick Lamar and Imagine Dragons. Wow. They're nominated. John Legend and Keith Urban, Lord, Macklemore and Ryan Lewis, Madonna, Paul McCartney and Ringo Starr, Metallica.
Another one.
Yes.
Robin Thicke and Chicago.
Robin Thicke and Chicago.
Are performing together. That is going to be epic.
I wonder what that is going to... I'm kind of curious what that might be like, though, because
I wonder what they're going to do with the trombone.
Their style is so different than his style. Mm-hmm. Casey Musgraves is performing. Been a lot of talk about Casey Musgraves, and we've played her music on our country station, but her none of her songs have, chart-wise, performed very well. But she's really, a lot of people like her. She was a winner of, was it Nashville Now that she was a winner of?
Nashville Star. She wasn't a winner. She was a contestant.
She was a contestant. She did not win. But she is clearly the most...
She's clearly... And she only lasted like 2 weeks on the show.
Yeah, well, she is definitely one of the most talked about new artists of this year. I mean, or she probably is the most talked about new country artist this year because we hear her name all the time. Same thing when the CMTs came up. Everybody's saying Casey Musgraves, and I think she did win some awards. She may have won Artist of the Year or New Artist of the Year. I'll have to look that up, but very, very interesting. And I'm looking for... the nominees. Okay, for Record of the Year, we have Get Lucky by Daft Punk featuring Pharrell Williams. Great record.
I don't think so.
You don't like the song?
It's not that I don't like them. I just don't think the song will win.
I don't know. One of the best testing records out there for rhythmic stations. A good song. Thomas. Oh, those are just the nominees. Radioactive, Imagine Dragons. I almost got to kind of pull for those guys, considering that they were on YouTube Rising Star.
They might be.
That was a very popular song, though. Very popular song. Yeah. Royals by Lord, which is one of my favorites. A lot of people don't like it. A lot of people do like it, though. And many have said it's definitely up there with nominees for Record of the Year. Locked Out of Heaven, great record, but
it might win.
Blurred Lines, Robin Thicke featuring T.I. and
I hope it wins.
Pharrell.
Because it was probably the biggest song of 2013. Talking it all.
Over the summer, I thought so, but there have been a couple of songs, including the Daft Punk song that was huge and continues to be huge on the rhythmic charts. Radioactive, the Imagine Dragons was huge, and it was out at the same time. And I think one was 1 and one was 2. And I think if I remember right, Blurred Lines got knocked out of number 1 by. I might be wrong, but I think it got knocked out of the number 1 spot by Radioactive. I might be wrong. Album of the Year. Now, Sarah Bareilles is back, but we haven't heard too much from her. I know they're playing her some on AC radio, her new song.
Yeah, her song sounds too much like Roar.
Oh, really? Well,
her song Brave.
that sounds. Maybe she uses the same producer. Let me take a look here. I can look and see if they use the same producer. A lot of times the songs sound a lot like another artist. They are. And no, they are not the same producers. So, the album, so here are the nominees. The Blessed Unrest, Sarah Bareilles. Random Access Memories by Daft Punk. Good Kid by Kendrick Lamar. Mad City by Kendrick Lamar, another popular R&B group. The Heist, Macklemore and Ryan Lewis. Red by Taylor Swift. I'm going to go with The Heist. You don't think so? Who are you going for? Taylor?
What?
Who are you going for Record of the Year?
I'm going to go with Blurred Lines.
Album of the Year.
Oh.
I said The Heist, Macklemore and Ryan Lewis.
Maybe.
Maybe.
The nominees.
It's definitely the strongest of all of the. I mean, I like the Kendrick Lamar CD, but it's still better than I think any of the other nominees, and it's had multiple hits. I mean, it has had 5 singles so far, I think.
Yeah, the only one that it'll probably be The Heist. That's the only one that stands
The only
out
other one that may have had just as many is Red by Taylor Swift, but I don't think that's going to win. I don't know though. The kid that was big with the kids. Song of the Year. Just Give Me a Reason, Pink. Locked Out of Heaven, Bruno Mars.
That might win it.
Roar, don't think it is. Roar by Katy Perry. Royals by Lord. Same Love by Macklemore, Ryan Lewis featuring Mary Lambert. Boy, that's a tough one. I'm going to go...
I'm going to go either Roar or Locked Out of Heaven.
I'm going to go with... I'm going to say Same Love. Because it was a controversial song. It's a song that people in that industry seem to embrace because of its message. So I'm going to go with Same Love, and if Same Love doesn't get it, I'm going to go with Roar, another uplifting, highly popular song that we hear of a lot. Best New Artist, James Blake, Kendrick Lamar, Macklemore and Ryan Lewis, Casey Musgraves, Ed Sheeran is a nominee, too.
Wow. Let's just say it together.
Macklemore and Ryan Lewis. But you know that... artists and groups that win Best New Artist of the Year for years. I don't think it's the case anymore, but for a long, long time, that was almost a bad thing. They didn't want to win it because they didn't go very far. I think that's changed over the past few years, but for a long time.
Well, if you remember, when I think of new artists, I always think about one of the funniest.
Milli Vanilli, perfect example.
Yeah, one of the funniest moments of the Grammy Awards. I think it was 2011. Justin Bieber was up for Best New Artist. The against two other people.
Yeah.
And the award went to Esperanza Spalding.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that
nobody knew who in the hell she was, and she won Best New Artist, and the Believers lost their mind.
Yeah, and Adele, she won one year too, and it wasn't until she won that award that she really started getting a lot of airplay. So it that helped her.
I can't wait until she makes another album.
Yeah, me too. Best pop duo group or performance: Get Lucky, Daft Punk, Pharrell Williams, Just Give Me a Reason, Pink, Stay, Rihanna. Blurred Lines, Robin Thicke, T.I. and Pharrell Williams, Suit and Tie, Justin Timberlake, and Jay-Z. I'm going to go with Blurred Lines on this one.
I'm going to go with Blurred Lines, too.
Yeah.
Maybe Suit and Tie.
Possibly, but I don't. I see Blurred Lines. Blurred Lines has got to win some. I mean, my goodness.
Yeah.
Best Pop Instrumental Album. I don't even know if we know enough about that category to
let's not talk about it.
Best Pop Vocal Album. Oh, my goodness. Paradise, Lana Del Rey. Nah. Pure Heroine, no. Lord, Unorthodox Jukebox, Bruno Mars.
Maybe.
I'm telling you, Lord, a lot of people like Lord, and Lord, she's 17 years old. You got to remember that. Unorthodox Jukebox.
She has an album called Pure Heroine.
Well, but that's not what she means by heroin.
I know, but...
But, you know, Blurred Lines, Robin Thicke, and the 2020 Experience, The Complete Experience by Justin Timberlake. I'm
going to go with Timberlake.
I go with Timberlake, too. Yeah. There we go. Dance Electronica. This is what our Jams 102 fans should like this. Need You, Duke Dumont. Sweet Nothing, which we are currently playing in rotation. Calvin Harris and Florence Welch. This format, this electronica music, or they call it EDM, is actually starting to become a somewhat viable radio format here in the States. It has been over in Europe for years, but it's getting much more popular here. Actually, a station in, I want to say, San Diego flipped to it the other day. That not doing real well in terms, it's getting a share or two in the ratings, but that's about it. Atmosphere by Cascade. This is what it feels like. Armin van Buuren and Trevor Guthrie. Okay, that's the artist. Clarity, Zed featuring Foxes. I got to go with Zed. It was a big hit.
Yeah, me too.
And a great song.
Funny story, though. We were on our way to Vegas, and that song came on the radio.
Oh, really?
And I guess Dante wanted to know who did the song, and it was said that it was an REM song.
No. That's funny. Yeah, that's it's definitely a Zed song. Let's see. Best rock performance. Always Alright, Alabama Shakes, which had a big year.
AKA Medea.
It had a big year.
Yeah, but if you look at the lead singer of Alabama Shakes.
Yeah.
She looks just like Medea.
Yeah. But I love an African American rocker. I really do. My friend Nish Hernandez.
Lenny Kravitz.
Yeah.
Nish Hernandez.
Yeah. The Stars Are Out Tonight, David Bowie. Radioactive by the Imagine Dragons. Kashmir, Led Zeppelin. My God is the Sun, Queens of the Stone Age. Or Queens of the Stone Age. I better get that right. My rocker friends. I'm Shaken by Jack White. Gotta go with my buddies in Imagine Dragons. Sorry, just gotta do it.
Yeah, they'll win it.
Best metal performance, TNT, Anthrax, God is Dead, Black Sabbath, The Enemy Inside, Dream Theater, In Due Time, Killswitch Engage, Room 24, Volbeat, featuring King Diamond. Don't know any of these groups, but I gotta go with Black Sabbath. I mean, I know of the groups, I just don't know a lot of them. That's not the type of music that we play here. Not that it may not happen someday, it's just not now. So I'm not real familiar with that format. Best rock song, Ain't Messin' Around, Gary Clark. Again, we don't know who he is. Dave Grohl, Paul McCartney, Chris Novoselic, and Pat Smear. Cut Me Some Slack. Doom and Gloom, Mick Jagger and Keith Richards, God is Dead. Don't like that title. Geezer Butler, Tony Iommi, and Ozzy Osbourne. There comes the Bat Biter's name one more time. And Panic Station is the song. And then, I guess, wait, am I looking at Best Rock Song?
Best Rock Album, I think.
Let me make sure I get this right. Yeah, the albums are Ain't Messing Around, Gary Clark. Cut Me Some Slack, Dave Grohl, Paul McCartney, Chris Novoselic, and Pat Smear. Doom and Gloom, Jagger and Richards. God is Dead, Geezer Butler, Tom Iommi, and Ozzy Osbourne. And Panic Station by Matthew Bellamy. Once again, I'm going to go with Jagger and Richards on that one.
Mick Jagger and his big-ass lips.
Yeah. They got to be worth something. Best R&B performance, Love and War, Tamar Braxton. Best of Me, Anthony Hamilton, Nakamura, Hiatus, K.O.T., and Q-Tip. That's the second song I've seen from Q-Tip. How Many Drinks, Miguel, Kendrick Lamar, and Something by Snarky Puppy and Layla Hathaway. Gotta go with Tamar Braxton.
Miguel.
Oh, you think Miguel will? Okay.
Yeah, Miguel's on fire. A lot of people seem to like him. I don't know much about R&B.
Yeah, that might be the case. Let's see. Best R&B song.
I'm going to go and say best R&B song.
Okay.
It's going to go to Fantasia.
I knew you were going to say that, but I don't know. You're a big Fantasia fan. But Missy Elliott and Kelly Rowland have props in that song. So, yeah, let's go with Fantasia Barrino. I'll go with Fantasia.
She's won Grammys before. She might do it again.
Yeah. Best rap performance, my man Drake, I love him. Started from the bottom. Berserk, Eminem, Tom Ford, Jay-Z, Swimming Pools, Kendrick Lamar, Thrift Shop, Macklemore, and Ryan Lewis featuring Wans. Wow. Really hard pick on that one. Gotta go
I'm going to go with Eminem.
I ain't gonna go with. I love Berserk, great song, but I gotta go with Thrift Shop, just a huge hit. Best rap song collaboration. And then in rap music, everything is a collaboration. It's pretty much the thing these days. Power Trip, J. Cole featuring Miguel. Part 2, On the Run, Jay-Z and Beyonce. Holy Grail, Jay-Z and Justin. Now or Never, Kendrick Lamar and Mary J. Blige. Remember You, Wiz Khalifa featuring The Weeknd. Gonna go with Holy Grail.
Me too.
Best rap song, Effing Problems.
I was hoping you would actually say the word and screw up. I was hoping.
No. Holy Grail, New Slaves, W. Coleman, Thrift Shop, Nothing Was the Same, Drake, Magna Carta, Holy Grail, Jay-Z, Good Kid, Mad City, Kendrick Lamar, Yeezus by Kanye West, pretty much... Forget that one.
Holy Grail.
Holy Grail. Once again, here we go. Best. We ought to have some fun with this one. Best country solo performance to Drive Your Truck, Lee Brice. I Want Crazy, Hunter Hayes. Mama's Broken Heart, Miranda Lambert. Wagon Wheel, Darius Rucker. Mine Would Be You, Blake Shelton. I think I know your pick.
Wagon Wheel.
And you know what? I'm going to shock the crap out of you, but I'm going to go with Wagon Wheel too.
Yes.
Just because, even though I was not crazy about the song, production-wise and lyrically, I think it's probably... But I Drive Your Truck would be my number 2. Best country duo performance, Civil Wars. Don't Rush, Kelly Clarkson and Vince Gill. Your Side of the Bed, Little Big Town. Highway Don't Care, Tim McGraw, Taylor Swift, and Keith Urban. Nothing... We Were Us is not nominated, apparently. Highway Don't Care, Tim McGraw, Taylor Swift, Keith Urban. I just said that. You Can't Make Old Friends, Kenny Rogers with Dolly Parton. Got to go with Highway Don't Care on that one, I think.
Yeah, me too.
I like Don't Rush, though, too, possibly. Best country song was not a huge hit for her. Begin Again. And it was... actually, it made the top 10. I Drive Your Truck, Mama's Broken Heart... which was co-written, by the way, by Casey Musgraves. Merry-Go-Round. Love the lyrics to that song. God, I almost wish I could pull for that one. Also written by Shane McNally, who has a connection here to Cincinnati. Mine Would Be You. Where's Boys Around Here? Nothing.
I don't know.
I'm going to go with, on this one, I think I'm going to go with... it's a hard one.
I Drive Your Truck. Me.
I'm going to go with Merry-Go-Round.
Maybe.
Because remember, the
Grammys
aren't about popularity. They're about the technical aspect of the song, and that's technically a great record. So I would go with that. I don't know much about... I sound like an idiot when I say this stuff. I don't know much about jazz, contemporary Christian music.
Let's go there because I can...
Okay. Best Gospel Contemporary Christian Music Performance. Tasha Cobbs, Break Every Chain. Hurricane, Natalie Grant. Lord, I Need You, Matt Mahar. Overcomer, Mandisa, and Ty Tribbett. I'm going to give it to Mandisa, just because I love Mandisa.
Yeah, me too.
Best Gospel Song, Dietrich Haddon by Calvin Frazier. Dietrich Haddon also on that. If He Did It Before, Same God by Ty Tribbett. If I Believe, Worley Morris, Michael Pran, Charlie Wilson. A Little More Jesus, Erica Campbell. Still by Percy Beatty and Lowell Pye. Love, Take Me Over, Stephen Curtis Chapman. Hurricane, I guess those are the songwriters. Overcomer, Speak Life. Wait, I'm getting this wrong here. I'm not reading it. Love, Take Me Over, then Overcomer, Speak Life, and Whom Shall I Fear?
I know, I blew it.
Got to give that one to Chris. I love that song. Got to give it to Chris Tomlin on that one and Ed Cash. Yeah. Great record. And that's pretty much it that I see. So, any other categories that you see that you may want to go over? We agree a lot. That's a good thing, maybe. In a lot of cases, we do agree. So, getting ready for this
I'm going to guess that the king of comedy albums, or the queen of comedy albums, the one again, man, Kathy Griffin.
Yeah, I would say that too. Yeah, Kathy Griffin, definitely. She's amazing. They air tomorrow night at, I think, 8 o'clock, CBS, correct? So we will have more on the shows, more on our radio channels. We'll be featuring up some music, of course, this weekend. And then on Monday, we'll have the results and a special big show, which will air at 7 o'clock Monday night Eastern Time on Buzz 101. So, so that's that for the show. And we thank you for joining us. We will be back again next Sunday, even if it's Saturday, on Soapbox Talk. Have a great night, everybody. We'll continue to watch the situation in Maryland. And, we were going to talk about the weather real quick. I knew there was something. Wanted to read everybody real quick. This is from, I'll pull this up real quick. We'll do this. Do you have to go anywhere, Taylor?
No, I'm just eating chili right now.
Oh, your dad's famous chili. That's some good stuff. Let's see here. Let me see.
So good for a day like today.
Yeah. Lucky dog. I don't even know. I got to figure out what we're having for dinner. Hold on just a second. I'm going to pull something up. This is from my friends at... they're called Severe Weather Concepts, and this is what they're saying may happen this week. And the more I look, the more I see that some of the local meteorologists are definitely definitely talking about. I should be able to pull it up here pretty quick. Here it is. I got it. This is what it says. They're called Severe Weather Concepts. They have offices in Mason, Ohio, Florence, Kentucky, which that's where I am at right now, Florence, Kentucky. Good evening to the faithful Severe Weather Concept followers. I hope this forecast finds you well, not, or as well as can be given the way that wintry conditions which look to persist over the next week. Moving on, Friday will be a day of yet another change. We were talking about that yesterday, where we had the quick 4-inch snowfall here in Boone County. It was a fluffy snowfall. It's blowing back on the roads. We're hearing all about that. We get another accumulating snow tomorrow. Anywhere from 1 to 3 inches is possible with that system. And then moving down, highs tomorrow on Sunday will make it. I'm going through and paraphrasing some of this just to make it happen quicker. Sunday will rise rather handsomely to near 30 by Sunday evening. Another shot of snow will arrive Monday or Sunday afternoon into the evening hours to usher in much colder air, and this may produce an additional 1 to 3 inches. I think they're now have backed that up, say it's going to be here in the morning. Do not be fooled, as temperatures will fall to near zero north of the Whitewater River Valley, which is just north of us here in Cincinnati. The single digits elsewhere in the lower teens south of Grant and Owen counties in northern Kentucky. Highs for your Monday will rise modestly to the middle single digits for a high. Did you hear that? Middle single digits. As night sets in, this timing will couple with the most significant influence from strong northwesterly winds, which will transport the coldest air in many years into the area. In fact, if you are younger than 20 years old, you will never have felt temperatures this cold coming to our area this next week. The record low temperature...
Are you going to be ice skating on the Ohio River this week?
Maybe. The record low temperature for Tuesday, which
I was talking to Steve.
I don't ice skate. You ever seen me ice skate? It ain't pretty, man. I ain't want to go there. Don't even start getting me started. I like to put people under the ice, though, if you know what I mean. Sneed, really?
I know Joe ice skate.
Yeah, he been trying to get me to go do it down there. I ain't gonna do it. I'm afraid he'll cause a scene or something. I gotta protect myself. I'm trying to get married to Sweener again. Hi, Sweener. I miss you. I love you, Sweener. All right, back to the forecast. You got to hear this. This is the part that I want everybody to hear. The record low temperature for Tuesday, which is January 28th, is negative 18. And we will most likely fall below this temperature for a low temperature. Some reporting stations throughout our area will fall into the negative 20-degree range. If you live in an outlying area, the range could be between negative 24 and negative 27 degrees. Currently,
I'm not even going to go outside.
Currently, the forecast it mentions that it says it will translate into an extremely dangerous situation. Expect many businesses and schools to be closed on Tuesday, given these metrics. Leave water to
everybody except for UDS.
Drip overnight. Water. It says flesh can freeze in this kind of weather in a matter of 30 seconds. This is weather that's colder than what they see in Alaska. I mean, this is some cold, cold air coming our way. So if you're in this area, Ohio, Kentucky, Indiana.
Another polar vortex.
The biggest polar vortex of all is headed our way, and it will be here.
Bigger than Joey Votto's?
I don't know about that, March, but I would think so. Yeah, I think it is bigger than Joey Votto's. So, but anyway, so look out for that. Anyway, that is the show for today. We will see you next week on Soapbox Talk. We'll see you on the regular stations throughout the week. Have a great day. Bye-bye, everybody.